Now on Spectrum Bay News 9, tens of thousands of National Guard troops will be descending on the Capitol ahead of Inauguration Day. Why the FBI is vetting all of those troops. And Hillsborough County has a new way to distribute the coronavirus vaccine to senior citizens. The new plan's in place for them to get the shot. And third time's a charm, the Bucks beat the Saints to head to the NFC Championship game next week. What QB Tom Brady is saying about the matchup against the Packers. Your morning news starts now. Thank you for joining us. I'm Cait McVeigh. It's Monday, January 18th, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. This is Spectrum News Weather Now. Much of the nation's capital remains on lockdown this Martin Luther King Day, with heightened security in place ahead of Inauguration Day. Our Washington Bureau reporter Taylor Popolars has a look at the plans to keep everyone safe.
Up to 25,000 National Guard troops have been authorized to come here to Washington to ensure a safe inauguration. But security remains such a concern that the FBI is now vetting those troops to make sure there's no inside threat. The entire Capitol complex and National Mall are sealed off from the public this week as the country prepares for a presidential swearing-in like we've never seen before. President-elect Joe Biden spent part of the weekend introducing members of his science team and then attending church, while President Trump has stayed out of public view. Congress will return to session this week, the Senate getting ready to hold confirmation hearings for Biden's nominees, as well as begin President Trump's second impeachment trial. And the incoming administration is making clear they want to hit the ground running right after Biden delivers his inaugural address. His incoming chief of staff said Biden will sign dozens of actions in his first few days having to do with COVID-19, climate change, immigration, and health care.
He's going to come back to the White House after giving that speech at the Capitol and take some immediate actions to start to move this country forward.
Inauguration Day will include a few in-person events, including Biden swearing in and a wreath-laying ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery. But most of the usual events will be virtual. Today, Biden and his wife Jill will travel to Philadelphia to volunteer to mark the National Day of Service. President Trump, for his part, has no public events on his schedule, and we know that on Wednesday, Inauguration Day, Trump will travel from Washington to Florida before Biden is sworn in. Reporting in Washington, Taylor Popolars, Spectrum News.
As Taylor just mentioned, the National Mall in D.C. is closed to the public. It's not usually empty like this. Thousands of people usually gather in this area to watch the swearing in, but those plans again have been altered this year. Law enforcement agencies nationwide are on high alert after the deadly Capitol siege nearly 2 weeks ago. Authorities are bracing for more planned protests and possible violence in Washington, D.C. and cities across the U.S. President-elect Joe Biden will be sworn in just 2 days. Join our Spectrum News team of experts from across the country for live coverage and analysis on Inauguration Day on Wednesday, starting at 11 a.m. President Trump reportedly plans to issue around 100 pardons and commutations tomorrow on his last full day in office, including white-collar criminals and high-profile rappers. The White House held a meeting yesterday to finalize the list of pardons. Officials expect this to be the last batch made unless the president decides at the last minute to grant pardons for controversial allies, members of his family, or even himself. Vaccine efforts are taking place across the state, but unfortunately, it's not helping the fight against COVID-19 just yet. According to the Florida Health Department, there are now more than 1,542,000 cases. Another 11,000 new cases just reported yesterday. There are also more than 24,500 deaths. The daily percent positive rate is at 9.1%. For vaccines, more than 1 million people have received a shot and more than 91,000 have received both doses. Hillsborough County is now offering mobile vaccinations at senior communities. It's a new initiative to expand distribution to residents beyond those currently being administered at county-run distribution sites. Spectrum Bay News 9's Jason Lanning explains the details of this new effort.
The health department of Hillsborough County is calling this a targeted distribution. They will take a small portion of the weekly vaccination supply for those 65 and older and get those directly to senior communities. The 7-day average positivity rate for Hillsborough County is edging downward, hovering just above 12% right now. That is lower than we've seen in the first 2 weeks of January, but still higher than last fall. The county, along with the University of South Florida and Aging Services, is now taking vaccinations mobile for seniors. These are pictures last week from Kings Manor and San Lorenzo Terrace communities in Tampa. Senior citizens are the most vulnerable population and possibly the most challenged in the county to get appointments booked and then arrive at the vaccine location. So Hillsborough County is bringing those vaccines to them.
We know that it's kind of difficult for them to get to the public sites or even to just get a reservation. So if we come to them, we know what we're hitting, that we're hitting the 65 plus communities that are more vulnerable. We want to make sure that we're getting to them and make it as easy as possible.
Because the county does not know how many vaccines will be delivered weekly, it is not putting out a list of communities to notify them when they can expect the vaccine. Instead, each facility will be called as soon as the county can promise them the mobile vaccinations. Jason Lanning, Spectrum, Bay News 9.
Our Tampa Bay Buccaneers are headed to Green Bay to take on the Packers for the NFC Championship game. The Bucs were finally able to beat Drew Brees and the Saints, avenging their 2 previous losses earlier this year. Spectrum Sports 360's Mike Cairns has a recap of the game.
Drew Brees and the Saints have gotten the best of Tom Brady and the Bucs this year, but when a trip to the NFC Championship game was on the line in this year's third meeting, the Bucs and Tom Brady were at their best. To the Big Easy we go. Brady, Brees, number 3. Tough to beat Tom Brady 3 times in the same season. Second quarter, Bucs get their first interception of the game. Brees looking for Michael Thomas. He'll be picked off by Sean Murphy bunting, and he's going to take it all the way down to the New Orleans 3, nearly scores. And on the very next play, it's Brady to Mike Evans. Career playoff touchdown number 76 for Brady. First playoff TD for Evans. Bucs led 7-6. Saints up by a touchdown in the second half and driving until Antoine Winfield Jr. strips Jared Cook. Devin White comes up with the football. The Bucs are in business. Tampa Bay, you're going to take this ball 40 yards to set up another touchdown. This time, Brady looking for Leonard Fournette. 6-yard strike, and the game is tied at 20. Saints then from their own 38. Brees trying to find Alvin Kamara. Picked off by White. Look at the stiff arm here. Get off me. He takes it 28 yards, and that's going to set up Tom Brady one more time. And this time, Tom Brady says, you know what, I'm going to call my own number. Goes in for the 1-yard dive. Bucs go up 10. They go on to win it 30-20.
You're not going to lose many games when you're +4. So just a great effort. They came up huge offensively, made some plays when we needed to. Running game was great. Line protected great up front. Just a great week of prep, and really proud of our team and everything we put in to get to this point. So there's only 4 teams left. We're one of them, and it's tough to get to this point. So we need a big week. Need a great week of practice. Got one of the best teams in the league, obviously, in Green Bay.
That's right. It's Bucs and Packers in the NFC Championship game Sunday at 3 p.m. Be prepared to hear a lot about Brady and Aaron Rodgers this week. I'm Mike Aarons, Spectrum, Bay News 9.
In destination space news, the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket launch scheduled for this morning, well, it's been scrubbed because of unfavorable weather conditions in the recovery area. SpaceX is now shooting for 8:23 tomorrow morning. Of course, you can watch the launch live right here on Spectrum Bay News 9 as it happens. Find out about the mission of the 17th Starlink launch in our morning briefing on the Spectrum News app. If you haven't already done this, download the app at SpectrumNewsApp.com. You'll receive the briefing on your phone right at 7 a.m. Residents of a small neighborhood in Lakeland are suing Polk County because of a plan to build dozens of homes. We'll have the reason behind the pushback.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Josh Linker. Thank you for staying with us here for Weather on the Nines. We had some cold weather out there this morning in some spots. We got down into the 30s. 36 was your low at Crystal River and at Inverness. 37 in Brooksville. 50 in Tampa. 46 at MacDill. 46 in Clearwater. And we saw some 40s from Brandon to Lakeland and Bartow and Lake Wales. 53 this morning in Bradenton. And we managed to clear out, and that's why we were able to drop a little bit. We'll drop more so tomorrow morning as we will have clear skies through the evening tonight. All the clouds down to our south. Now, we're not going to go totally sunny in all areas today because we're still looking at this little stretch of some high clouds that'll come through, but generally speaking, will be mostly sunny throughout the day. With that, a little bit milder, with temperatures getting back up into the middle to even some upper 60s this afternoon, still below normal, but a much warmer day across the area. Evening temperatures back off quickly, and by tomorrow morning, we're going to be in the 30s to 40s across the area, and then we'll start to see a warming trend. Some of us tomorrow will get to around 70 in the afternoon. Most areas in the middle to upper 60s tomorrow. Forecast today, mostly sunny, milder, 66 for the high. Overnight tonight, mainly clear and chilly down into the 30s and 40s. And tomorrow, mostly sunny, a mild day with a high of 69. 70s show up in the 7-day. I'll bring that to you in less than 10 minutes. But first, here's another look at Klystron 9.